Here are 11 terrible exercises that hurt knee pain from Chondromalacia Patella. Number 1 are knee extensions. This is the machine in the gym. Most gyms have these. Sometimes they're in physical therapy offices or other medical offices. And usually you sit down and you put a pad or a bar right in front of your shins, and then you're straightening out your knees in an effort to work out your quad muscles, to strengthen the muscles on the front of your thigh. This exercise is absolutely terrible for you because it makes your muscle imbalance worse. If you look at Chondromalacia Patella as being caused by a muscle imbalance where the quad muscles are too dominant or strong and they're pushing the kneecap up against the thigh bone, then it doesn't make sense to go strengthen your quads on a leg extension exercise like this, because you're going to add further compression in the moment actually doing the exercise. And as the muscles get stronger over time, you're going to increase the resting tension of the quads, which is going to cause more pain in your kneecap when you're just sitting around doing nothing. This is why some people get knee pain when they're just sitting. It's called the moviegoer sign. Or they get knee pain at night. They get knee pain when they're not exercising because those quad muscles are too strong and they're just constantly putting force, bad force, on those poor kneecaps. Number 2 is VMO exercises. VMO specific exercises. This is a teardrop shaped part of the quad muscle on the inner part of the knee that is commonly thought of as a muscle responsible for the alignment of the kneecap on the thigh bone. And the thought is that if you strengthen this specific muscle, that it'll pull your kneecap over into the correct alignment. However, there's growing research showing that this is not the case. This doesn't happen. And so spending your time on VMO strengthening is worthless. It's absolutely terrible for you, because in order to strengthen the VMO muscle, you by default are strengthening the quad muscle, which I just told you before is the wrong thing to do because of all the reasons I said before. You're putting too much pressure on your kneecap against your thigh bone and you're squashing your poor cartilage, and then you're doing it over time at rest because your muscles are just stronger. They have an increased resting tension. So it makes no sense to be doing VMO exercises. Number 3 is step exercises. This is where you'll step up from a step or down from a step, or sometimes on a chair or a bench. The idea here is to strengthen your quads or the muscles on the front of your thighs, and to teach you how to go up and down steps better when most people generally can do it. But if you're not being taught a different way, it's not really beneficial. In fact, that's kind of the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting a different result. You need to strengthen other muscles than the quads, because if you're still strengthening the quads, even though you're practicing stair climbing, you're still going to add compression to those kneecaps and make your Chondromalacia Patella worse. Number 4 is hamstring curls. Hamstrings are the muscles on the back of your thigh. Right here, here's glutes, here's the hamstring muscles, here's the back of the knee, and here's the front of the knee. When you do hamstring curls, you're usually lying down on a machine, face down like this, and the bar goes behind your lower leg, and then you're bending your knee to work out this muscle. Most people think that this makes sense because especially with my concept about the muscle imbalances, I'm telling you, your muscles are too strong on the front of the thigh here, and that's adding a lot of compression to the kneecap. So then it makes sense superficially, I'll tell you why this is wrong, but it makes sense superficially to work out the muscles on the other side of the thigh, on the back of the thigh. The reason why it's wrong is because these hamstring muscles right here have attachments that go down below the knee joint. And so if you get them stronger, it actually adds compression to the knee joint in a different way. And in order to take pressure off the kneecap on the front of the knee, we actually have to strengthen the glute muscles, not the hamstrings. So in my treatment approach, when I'm telling people to fix their knee problems or Chondromalacia Patella specifically, I don't have them do hamstring curls or any hamstring exercises. They'll be worked out indirectly in other exercises, but specific hamstring exercises where our goal is to make these muscles stronger, I think that's a bad idea because you're indirectly adding compression to the knee joint. Number 5 is single leg squats, sometimes called pistol squats. Let me get my other knee model to show you what's happening here. As I described, those quad muscles can get very strong, and when they pull, they add a lot of forces, a lot of compressive forces to the kneecap. When you're doing a single leg squat, it tends to be very, very quad dominant. It's rare that anybody can do a single leg squat and not be quad dominant. So it just doesn't make sense to work on this exercise, especially if you're flared up and irritated in your chondromalacia patella, because you're just going to be aggravating the cartilage behind the kneecap there. So doing a single leg squat is just so aggressive, not right. And even if your chondromalacia patella is healing and it's better, maybe it's not even painful. Let's say even just say you're a year out and you've been doing well overall in your chondromalacia patella. If you go start doing single leg squats, pistol squats on a consistent basis in an effort to protect your knee, to bulletproof your knee, then what's likely going to happen is that you're going to be under the radar developing a muscle imbalance or worsening your muscle imbalance. And then it's just a matter of time before either your kneecap starts to hurt again or something else gets hurt as a result of the excessive compression developed by doing all those pistol squats. Now, one-offs here and there, like doing it once in a workout, inadvertently doing it because you have to squat down and kneel down, functionally doing it in your everyday movement patterns, I think that's okay. But if you're training to do it and you're putting it into a consistent workout routine that you're doing on some consistent basis, like every week or even every 2 weeks, and you're forcing yourself to get stronger in the muscles that help you to do this pistol squat, then I think that's a bad idea. I think that's asking for a knee problem again. The 6th exercise is leg press exercises. Now, this one is a very big machine in the gym. You're usually sitting down with a plate where your feet go and you're pushing the plate away from you like this, and you'll stack weights on the sides of the machine so that you can make the plate harder to move and strengthen your muscles as you're doing that. This is an excellent quad exercise, which is a terrible chondromalacia patella exercise. It is very challenging in a leg press machine to not use your quads so much. And most people getting on this machine are intending to use their quads, and they usually don't know that that's what's contributing to their knee problem. But if you've got chondromalacia patella, you've probably experienced this. If you've gone to go try to do a leg press, that after a certain point during the exercise, your knee starts to hurt right behind your kneecap. And maybe not right after. Most people will get it during the exercise, but right after, like in the hour or two, even the rest of the day, people generally have this low-level soreness or discomfort behind their kneecap because it's been irritated, because you've been putting too much pressure through it. It is a terrible exercise for you to be doing, especially on a consistent basis and with a lot of weight, because it is promoting you getting stronger quad muscles. Number 7 is a straight leg lift or straight leg raise. This exercise is super commonly done in physical therapy clinics and exercise medical offices. And the premise of this exercise is that you're getting your hip flexor stronger, the muscles that make you bend at your hip, and your quad muscles. And here's what it looks like. Usually lying down, and then you pick one leg, whichever one you're gonna lift, and you lift it straight up. And you repeatedly do this with the intention of strengthening your hip flexors right here and holding your knee straight so that you strengthen the quad muscles as well. There's a muscle that's one of the quad muscles called the rectus femoris muscle, and it runs right down the middle of your thigh, and it's technically a hip flexor. These quad muscles and that hip flexor, the rectus femoris, all attach into the kneecap and can add excessive compression to it. So it doesn't make sense to do this exercise. We don't have a good understanding of what exercises help and hurt chondromalacia problems in the medical field. And so as a result, people are just doing what they learned. Healthcare professionals are doing what they learned from their mentors or what they were taught in school. And unfortunately, these exercises, all these quad exercises, are what gets taught over and over again, and it gets given to patients. Another one that you'll see, this is exercise number 8, is called the short arc quad. And the way this looks is you'll usually put your knee over something, maybe not something hard like this, but like a towel, and they'll have you raise your leg up over it, and then you're just lifting up your heel like so. Maybe it's a little bit higher, you're just picking up your leg in this way. And they call this a short arc quad because you're working on a short arc of motion and focusing on the quad muscles right here. But it is a similar idea to all the other exercises that we've talked about. Strengthening your quads too much is not a good thing to be doing. And really, it's such an easy, low-level exercise that it doesn't hurt people usually, but it's still training the same problem. It's training quad dominance, which is going to feed into using your quads too much when you go do those harder exercises. The 9th most terrible exercise is wall slides. Let me show you what this looks like. You're usually up against the wall, and you're sliding your body up and down against the wall to work out your leg muscles. But if you've ever done this exercise, if you want to try it, don't hurt yourself. It works out your quads very intensely. It's hard not to because you're leaning backwards. It's putting your quad muscles in a position where they're going to work a lot, which is going to add more compression to your cartilage behind your kneecap and make the chondromalacia patella worse. Sometimes this exercise is done with a ball, like one of those big stability balls behind you. That's just to make the rolling easier so you're not sliding your back and your clothes up against the wall, but it still works out the same muscle group. You're still getting too much force going through the quads, which is going to end up going through your kneecap. Number 10 is cycling. This exercise is done so much with people that have chondromalacia patella because the thought is that doing all those repetitive cycling motions is going to help your cartilage heal. And it technically, this is kind of split. Let me explain the details on this. It technically does help cartilage in that cartilage heals with high repetition and low resistance exercise, meaning you're not putting a lot of force through it. So like when you're lifting weights, like doing a leg press or a knee extension exercise, that's high resistance. It's gonna make a lot of pressure go through your cartilage behind your kneecap. And it's also low reps. So it's like the worst thing you could be doing for your knees. But when it comes to cycling, it is high reps and low resistance. The problem comes that you tend to use your quad muscles when cycling. If you've ever gone on a bike ride or if you've ever used a stationary bike and you've been there for a significant amount of time, significant for you, whatever makes you tired, maybe it's 15 minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes or 60 minutes or more, after a while of being on there and you get tired, most people tend to feel tired in their thigh muscles, especially the quad muscles. If you're doing this on a consistent basis, then which muscle's probably gonna get stronger? The quad muscles, which means that you're gonna have an increased resting tension in those quads, which is gonna apply increased forces through your cartilage behind your kneecap and cause you problems at rest. That's why you get the moviegoer sign. That's why you get knee pain when you're just sitting around having a meal. Or you're at sleeping at night, and if you're not in just the right spot, comfortable, your knee starts to ache and hurt all of a sudden out of the blue. It's because you've been cycling too much. This is why the pain comes out of the blue in the knees. This is why you wake up at night with knee pain, or you're sitting having a meal and your knee just starts to hurt. It's because you've been cycling too much and increasing that resting tension, and it starts to bother you when you're doing nothing because your poor cartilage behind your kneecap is just being compressed at rest. Last one here, number 11, you're gonna be shocked by this, walking. Walking can be a terrible exercise for you if you have chondromalacia patella. Now, before you get all riled up and say, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, let me explain further. It's similar to cycling. When you go walking, you tend to use your quad muscles. This is what most people do because if you have chondromalacia patella, then there's evidence that you probably have a muscle imbalance where you're using your quads too much, which is a sign that you're not using your glutes enough. And what you should be doing when you're walking is primarily using the glutes. You should be contracting the glutes, alternating. As you bear weight, your glutes should contract. If you don't do that, if you're not in the habit of doing that, if that's not your natural pattern of walking, then by default, your body compensates and uses the quads too much. And for a short distance, like walking around in your home where you live, it's probably not going to be too much of a bother unless you're very irritated. They could hurt with every step. But for most people dealing with chondromalacia patella, they can get around to the bathroom, to the kitchen, to the bedroom. They can go to all the different spots in their homes, and it's not a big deal. But if they're walking for distances, especially if you're walking for exercise, like you're going and walking loops at the park, you're on the treadmill for so many kilometers or so many miles, and you're hoping that that walking is going to help your chondromalacia patella. If you haven't gone and fixed the root problem, if you haven't gone and fixed the muscle imbalance to make the quads not so active so that they're not compressing your cartilage in your knee joint, then you're going to hurt yourself walking. You may not feel it in the moment, you may not feel it right away. It may take you weeks, months of walking, but it's going to contribute. And for most people, they don't connect it. They don't see that the walking hurts their knees because it doesn't hurt right away. They don't have that instant feedback. But what's happening, like with the cycling, the more you walk, compensated because you're using your quads too much, the more you train your quads, which increases that resting tension in your quad muscles and pulls the kneecap up into the thigh bone and squashes the cartilage in between. Then you get the pain at night, then you get the pain sitting around, then you get that chronic chondromalacia patella knee pain that doesn't go away no matter how much you're exercising. So please, if you're walking for exercise, stop immediately. And you might be saying, well, what the heck do I do? You just gave me 11 things that I'm doing, most of them or all of them or some of them on this list, and unknowingly hurting my knee. Well, I've got something for you. I've got tons of videos here on YouTube. I put them on a playlist called the Chondromalacia Help Playlist. And on many of those videos, I give you advice, tips, and exercises that you should be doing to help your chondromalacia patella. And I've taken it even a step further. I've developed a program called the Patella Pain Recovery Program, where I have painstakingly detailed my entire treatment approach to fix chondromalacia patella. Step by step, I guide you through everything you need to do. You're educated on the phases. This program is so comprehensive that you should know how to treat somebody else's chondromalacia patella by the time you go through it, because it tells you exactly what to do. There's a link to this program down in the description below. It's called the Patella Pain Recovery Program, and it's going to help you immensely to recover for the long term from chondromalacia patella, because it fixes the root of the problem by fixing the muscle imbalance. Hey friends, if this video was helpful for you, please give us a thumbs up. Please ask questions, drop a comment on here. We want to point you in the right direction. We love to answer questions when people drop comments. And please subscribe to our channel. And if you haven't already, turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the videos that we post each and every week. And if you thought this video was helpful, share it with somebody. Let somebody else know who's suffering from knee problems how to best help their knee problem. Thanks so much for watching, friends. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.